Hey guys, it's Lumen, and today I'm finally presenting an Endgame episode for like the first time in forever. It feels like I've been doing some builds and working on the new player series for dummies, and you know what? That's cool and all, but when I started, I made a lot of Endgame episodes, and it seems like I haven't done so as of late. So I guess it's pretty cool. Bringing it back, and yeah, as you may have noticed, we had Demon Slayer. It's ended now, but we had Demon Slayer, and from Demon Slayer we got a lot of new cards because it's a new collab, and one of those cards is Shinobu Kocho. So Shinobu, she's kind of an underwhelming card, I guess, and you might be thinking, wait, she's underwhelming, but you're using her? It's like, yeah, but when have you seen me play like actually good teams, So Shinobu is an underwhelming card, mainly because she's kind of gated behind her playstyle, which is based on matching poison orbs. Now, most of the time matching poison orbs is a bad thing because you take damage when you match poison orbs, and damage is bad because you want to survive, and well, if you take damage you're not surviving. So yeah, most of the time matching poison is bad. However, Shinobu turns that into advantage by one, neutralizing all poison damage, right? So even if you match poison orbs, as long as Shinobu is your lead, you're not going to take any damage. Now, this was, I think the debut of this was during, if I remember correctly, during Yugi, where Yugi and Bakura were the first two leads to avoid poison damage, and it made Yugi really popular. It was one reason, at least. So, pretty cool. You don't take any damage, and it neutralizes the negative aspect of poison. Now, poison is more of a harmless hazard like Jammer. But then, not only that, you have certain awakenings that allow you to deal more damage when matching poison orbs called poison boost awakenings. And those poison boost awakenings are OP because they actually provide the same amount of damage augmentation as a 7C. So it's actually quite a lot of damage, if I had to say so. And yeah, I mean, Shinobu already has pretty decent personal damage awakenings, right? She has triple 7C, and then you can give her a poison boost super awakening. So that's effectively 4 7C, right? And then if you give her an equip with the poison boost awakening, such as Bakura's card, you can now have an effectively 5 7C card. And so it's pretty cool, right? It's like, oh my god, now that I think about it, it's a lot of damage. Of course, in my personal opinion, it's still not that good enough for the risk that you're taking and the limitations that you're setting upon yourself, but I'll get into that later in the video. Now, why I'm running 4 Shinobu instead of 1 is because Shinobu, her active is a full board of light, dark, poison, and heal orbs, right? So full board, quad color full board on a 4-turn cooldown. So if I have 4 of her, I can system the full boards every single turn. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous damage, to be honest, but you know what? It's actually insane because the active, you're systeming it so you're getting orbs every turn, but not only that, because you're systeming it, you are essentially wiping the entire board. So if you have, let's see, if you have poisons, mortal poisons, right? I mean, poisons aren't really that annoying, but even if you have poisons, right? You have jammers, bombs. As long as there's no lock, you can wipe the board all away and make it clean and make it a nice quad color board that perfectly suits the team. So it's really nice in that sense. But unfortunately, one problem with that is that you don't really generate that many of a particular orb with a quad color board, since the distribution is split between 4 ways. So that means that it becomes relevant when you're trying to VDP. It's like, on average, you're going to generate 7.5 orbs of each color, right? Not factoring in variance, of course. And so 7.5 on average, you're not going to generate a VDP. But for me, you're going to generate enough for a row most of the time, right? Again, barring variance. So for me, I not only did I put on poison boost awakenings and super awakenings and whatnot, but I also added on a bunch of row awakenings, or at least I tried to, row and OE, so that I could bolster damage even further. With rows, with OE for orb enhance, poison boost, and 7C, I mean, some of my Shinobus are really popping off every turn. So yeah, it's a lot of damage, and I don't even have to worry about hazards because Shinobu, the system covers poison and jammer, and then Araragi himself has a blind res super awakening. So I mean, it's really, really strong. Yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of fun running this because it's so dumb. And yeah, the system is really legit. You're just generating full boards over and over again. It's pretty consistent damage. All in all, pretty strong. One thing I do have to say though, in this dungeon, right, since you have Poison Boost Super Awakening, it naturally generates Poison Orb Skyfall. And when you're going up against Lucifer's first test is to remove all the poison. So, you know, it might be a bit riskier, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's like one concern that might end up being a bit tricky. Now, another thing to keep in mind is, why did I pair with Araragi instead of Shinobu? Well, mainly because I'm kind of a wuss and I was too lazy to actually grow up and do the Shinobu x Shinobu pair. But it was more because I was a bit lazy and I didn't want to think about it, and Araragi just solved a ton of concerns. Like, his leader skill, yes, it's very strong on its own, but especially for Shinobu, it really propped her up and made her really, really strong. So, I don't know, I was just lazy and I just went with it, and I was like, you know what, I'll just go with this. Why not? So, yeah, I mean, it ended up working out pretty well. I didn't think I had to run it too much. I didn't die too much to get this clear, so we take those. Now, of course, you have Araragi. Araragi is also really nice because it's active too. It covers all the awoken binds, right, on Calibold. He's also an extra source of orb gen, and he functions as a really, really nice solution to Jiang Mei on the Gentleman Form. So he's really strong overall. I really like him. I haven't actually touched him before, and I know a lot of people are using him for rank EXP swap builds. So yeah, rank farming swap builds where you lead with Shige or Saline, and then you swap in a new card, right, a better leader. And then that way you take advantage of the rank multiplier boost and just run the dungeon. So I don't know, I don't really do that, but I know people have used them for that. So anyway, moving on to the last sub. The last sub we have Nelle. Now, why did I choose Nelle? Couple of reasons. One, Fujin. I needed Fujin. Like, you know, I can't get away without it. And she happens to be really strong, really fast, and yeah, fast is what I need, because I need it for Sopdet, I need it for Crusader, and I need it for G Manoa. And she's so fast that she'll come up, she'll be up so fast. Like, I don't have to worry about any timings or anything. I know she'll be up when I need her. So yeah, super strong option. I love her. She's like, okay, she was buffed before, and a lot of people rightfully said, oh, she's ridiculously strong now. Like, I'm gonna chase for her because she's that strong. And for me, I was like, Now, I already had like 7 Nelle, so I didn't care, right? And I didn't even use her that much, so it's like, right? But as I used her, right, as I ran her in this team, I realized like the hype was so justified. It was like, oh my god, she's so strong. Like, she's actually ridiculously strong. So yeah, it's like her orb generation on top of the Fujin on such a short cooldown is actually just, I can't even put it into words. It's so broken. It's so strong. So yeah, Nelle was the perfect utility sub for this team. She also has a good amount of VDP. I tinkered around with the build design a bit, and I was like debating whether I want to stack her as my VDP sub or Araragi. I think in this build I went with Araragi, but I think in the future Nelle could have worked just as fine. Might tinker with the build a bit more and see how it goes. But yeah, Nelle is definitely a great fit. She also has Rose, right? And you know, the team doesn't need any poison resist, any jammer resist, any what is it? No jammer, no poison. Already has blind. Like, you don't really need anything else, right? So on the equips, all I did was just bolster damage. Like, it was just row equips, it was OE equips, it was poison boosted, like literally just bolstering damage. That's it. That's all I cared about. So yeah, I mean, it was a blast. I mean, we dealt tons and tons of damage with this team, and I was like, Jesus, it's actually pumping out damage like a beast. And yeah, it all went well, I guess. So something that I do want to talk about is the weaknesses of this team. Now, I did mention VDP as an issue, so I was originally going to run double Shinobu and see how things worked out, right? But I didn't do that because, one, I was lazy, but two, because I was kind of concerned about the idea of VDPing. Now, VDP Of course, yes, you just match a box, and this team doesn't have too much of an issue, especially when you have Nelle to back things up. The real issue lies in the fact that, oh, when I need to VDP, Shinobu requires 7 combos. I can't hit 7 combos a lot of the time while I'm matching a box as well. Like, it's very difficult. Not only that, but I also need to Fua sometimes, and when I Fua, it can, you know, kind of screw with the orb distributions a bit, and now I'm unable to match 7 combos. So it can get a bit screwy in that sense. You know, I'm just glad that I switched to Araragi because he just solves a ton of those problems. Now, of course, Fua wouldn't have been too much of a problem because I had Nelle anyway, but it was something to think about, and ultimately, it was one of those factors that led to me switching around the leads. Now, another concern to keep in mind is Shinobu. Yes, on paper she has a lot of survivability, but in reality her survivability only extends when her health is above 50%, and once it drops below, she's basically a paperweight. So, you know, it gets kind of risky because there's a couple multi-hits in the dungeon, hint hint, on the boss floor with the evil Manoas. I think multiple bosses have like massive multi-hits, right? I encountered Demanoa and she had a massive multi-hit. I know Armanoa has like coin machine gun multi-hit. It's very dangerous, especially when you get into Enrage too. So yeah, it gets pretty risky, and you know what? I didn't want to deal with it. Now this team also doesn't have any color void, so it would have had to stall quite a bit on Elmanoa and Demanoa, and you know, with both of them having pretty strong, I'm not sure if Demanoa, no, I know Demanoa has multi-hit. I'm not sure if Elmanoa has a multi-hit, but I think in the vein of Orpheon probably does. I'm not sure, but it's still risky either way. Yeah, Manoa's just not fun. Let's put it that way. Manoa's kind of ugly. And I only even had a 1-turn Fujin, so it wouldn't even worked out with Nelle because it's like, I don't think I can one-shot with this team unless I get really lucky with the Dark Skyfall. So it's just bad beat all around with the evil Manoas. Not pretty at all. I mean, it was a lot of fun and definitely clears, but it's not something I would recommend to anyone. This is like, it's just whatever, right? Let me clarify. It's one of those teams that it's like, oh dang, you could do this in practice. It's like, cool, but it's like you would never actually do this in practice because it's such a waste of resources and time, and it's so inefficient and whatever, right? It's just, yeah, it's also because it's hard to get for Shinobu too. So yeah, it's just something that's cool to see, but it's like, okay, nice YouTube video. So the last thing I wanted to go over, right, besides the weaknesses of the team and construction and whatever, by the way, if you're looking for alternatives and stuff, my recommendation is just don't run this build. So anyway, what I did want to go over was the idea of poison. So now Shinobu is one of the latest cards to feature the poison playstyle, right? We have like cards like Hell and Yugi and Fedora and Gregory and stuff, but they're not really poisoned, and even if they are, they're not that great, right? It's just not at a great place. So for me, I look at this, I'm like, okay, poison. You know, how could we improve this playstyle, make it better, make it viable? And my initial thought was, since the current endgame of Shura's is all about damage, right? You need to deal massive damage, right? My idea is, if you make the damage multiplier on the Awakening ridiculous, right? You can make the lead stronger too, or like have recovery multipliers or something. I don't know, but if you make the damage multiplier on the Poison Boost Awakening ridiculous, I guarantee any team that can use it will use it. Like, for example, let's say we make Poison Boost Awakening like 4x personal damage, like basically 2 7Cs, right? So it's like kind of below 10C, but 10C is pretty difficult to hit. You have 4x personal multiplier on Poison Boost Awakening. Now, when you stack 2 of them, you're 16x. Like, that's ridiculous amounts of damage, right? And because, you know, Shura's and all that is geared towards dealing massive damage, right? Well, this would be a perfect play because it's like high risk, high reward. You are risking a lot of poison orbs and weird orb distributions and whatnot, but the payoff is so worth it. You're going to be dealing tons and tons of damage off one card, right? And even more if you have lots of awakenings too. So I don't know, I think it's a good idea. I think if you just boost the damage like crazy, I mean, people are going to use it. Even not you know, even teams that don't need poison at all, you might use it just for the damage. So I'm pretty curious as to see how it works out, but yeah, it could work out. Yeah, maybe there are more elegant solutions I'm thinking of, but you know, I'm pretty hype about just boosting the damage to really ridiculous levels. Hitting damage cap on any card that has the Poison Awakening. It might make Shinobu a really legit lead because you're just killing everything before anything can kill you. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't really have any other thoughts about this. It's just a fun team, but something that's really cool in practice, and it's just a one-time build, right? It's like, I'm not gonna run this ever again, but it's cool to run it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, see you guys next time. Good luck and have fun.